Hi, it's Tom here from Foam Data Services. Today we're going to be looking at the Nerf Rapidstrike, and we are doing a full rewire, and we're going to be using the Blaster Smiths UK and trigger cluster kit, which includes microswitches and all the parts that you need to get rid of this, the standard fire control group, and you'll reuse out of here your rev trigger and your main trigger and the springs that go with those. And we'll be ripping out all of the stock wiring, and I'm going to give you a run through of the main components. So, system components, flywheels, we have the mag lock, we have the jam door, and under that we have the jam door switch, we have the pusher and gearbox here, and the pusher motor here, and we have the pusher motor control microswitch, and then we have the rev trigger and the main trigger control microswitch and the rev trigger control microswitch here. Now, we won't be using all of this. There are ways and guides that allow you to reuse these components, but I never use them because I think it's better to put in more high-powered components. Now, today my minion will be assisting us in the dismemberment, as this is his Rapidstrike. So, the first thing we're going to cover today is we're going to cover tearing all this out and putting stuff back. And you can see we've already lost a little bit here from the mag release. Okay, so one of the things we're not going to show you is how to take the blaster apart. If you can't take this blaster shell open, then for God's sake don't work on it. One thing you've got to take off is this is the wire to the negative side of the battery tray, and it attaches into here. Just cut that, you're not going to need it. All of this is going in the skip. This is not a guide on how to use truss fires or IMR cells or any other batteries. We're using packs. So all of this area here is going to be taken up with your power supply. Okay, we're going to remove the motors here from the cage. That's it. There we go. Okay, pull it up. Is it coming out? Yeah, right. Okay. If you cut those.
Which ones do I need to cut?
So if we cut those, lift the motors, hold the motors. No, I'll cut them because I won't be in the field of view. Done. I'll do the voiceover for all of this. That's it, put it over there. Okay. Then take this all out. Yeah, of course. Come on, trying to use that. Right, pull it out. And that. That's it. Right, bin. Okay. Now you can take out the trigger cluster next. Undo the 3 screws that hold on the trigger cluster, and then you can reach the screws below that hold on the pusher motor. And you need to take those out, and then you're ready to go. Lifting that clear, and you will be able to see the jam door microswitch, which controls the motors and puts them onto a closed loop if you open the jam door. You're going to want to keep this part if you want to use any LEDs, and it also helps keep the jam door from coming open in use. So you want to carefully lift all the wiring out and then cut the wiring around the jam door switch for you to recycle it later. And don't worry about if there's a few little nubs on there, and then you want to push that jam door switch back into the shell so that you don't forget it unless you're painting, in which case put it somewhere so you don't lose it. Now you're ready to move on to removing the pusher motor and getting rid of the inductors that are attached to the pusher motor. And then you want to cut the wires next to the inductors so that you've got an idea of what colour does which. So, and if you look here, you can see the main trigger and the rev trigger, which you're going to need to take out. Now that you can see the shell and with all the components removed, there are a couple of minor jobs to do, and we quickly remove the mag well, and we can remove the mag lock at the front, which is the white component here. That can go in the skip. We're not going to need that. And the other thing that you can now do is you can see the wire run from the front area of the pusher motors going back through the blaster, through the mag well, and down into the trigger cluster area. And you will need to remove some plastic from the ribs directly underneath the BSUK switch kit. And here you can see the BSU switch kit sitting on top of those ribs, and you'll need to cut some material away, and we'll show you that in the next shot. And once that's done, that allows the wiring to pass under the switch kit and up and around. Here you can see us removing the outer layer, and this is done by gently breaking it in the middle effectively and pulling it out the way, and then underneath you have to cut the connections with sharp cutters. Now you can see the lower level of the RF shielding circuitry, and you can see the inductors and other components connected to the PCB. And the best way to remove these is to carefully cut the connections at the motor first, and you really don't want to remove the little tags onto which you will solder your wiring later on that are on the 130 motors there. And you can see I cut these first, and this allows you then to work your way methodically through cutting the others. There are a few small plastic nubs that retain the circuit board in place on top of the motor cage, which you will need to cut through as well. So take your time in this area and work through methodically. All you need at the end is the two 130 motors and the cage. All the PCB and all the components on it will all be removed, as you don't need
So we've
those.
prepared the shell, and what we've done to prepare the shell is I've installed the voltmeter that I want for later on, and we've also done a bit of clearancing work in here. So this area here is prepared for the wire run, and I've also taken out the pins in this area from the stock wire clamps because you don't need those. And the other thing that you can do is you can remove this little divider here, and then you can take all of this out here because you're not going to need any of that. So you can take this out in a minute, you pull it out with pliers, it comes out fine. And then in the other shell half you can do the same. You can take this one out here and take that away, and you can see I've put a little support bracket in the other shell half ready for the next run.